Ma'am, what are we doing here?
I'm just waiting for my doctor. My appointment's in that building at 2:30.
Yeah, well, you can't sit here. This is private property, no loitering.
I understand. It's just hard for me to move around. I'll go in when they call me.
I hear you, but you can't stay. You need to find somewhere else to wait.
There's nowhere else close, sir.
Not my problem. Let's not make this a thing. Let's move.
August 17th, 2022. A Wednesday afternoon in a Midwestern city. The footage begins mid-stride, the camera bobbing slightly with each step. Sunlight washes across concrete. Traffic hums in the distance. What starts as a routine patrol call becomes something else entirely. A 12-minute encounter that will cost a city nearly $1 million and force uncomfortable questions about who belongs in public space and who decides. Before we continue, if you're finding this analysis valuable, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And in the comments below, let us know where in the world are you watching from. Your engagement helps us continue bringing these important stories to light. The Bodycam timestamp reads 2:47 p.m. The officer's radio crackles intermittently. Dispatch chatter, codes, routine traffic. He's walking along a commercial corridor in the downtown medical district, a stretch lined with medical offices, coffee shops, a bank branch. The sidewalk is wide here, maybe 12 feet across. People move past in both directions. A woman with grocery bags. Two men in business casual. A teenager on a skateboard who veers into the street to pass someone. That someone is a black woman in a manual wheelchair positioned near the building's facade, just left of the main entrance. She's wearing a light blue cardigan. Her hair is pulled back. A canvas tote bag sits across her lap. She's looking down at her phone, thumb scrolling slowly. She's not blocking the entrance. She's not blocking the flow of foot traffic. She's simply there. The officer approaches from her left. His boots are audible on the pavement before his voice is. "Afternoon. Can I ask what you're doing here?" She looks up. There's a brief pause, the kind that happens when someone processes being addressed unexpectedly. Her expression is neutral, maybe slightly confused. "I'm waiting for my appointment. I have a doctor's visit at 3:15, in this building." "Okay, but you can't wait here. This is private property." There's no preamble, no introduction, no offer of help. The tone is matter-of-fact, administrative. He's already decided something. She shifts slightly in her chair, adjusting the bag on her lap. "I know, I'm just waiting. I got here a little early. I can't stand and wait inside because of the crowd, so I thought out here would be better. This sidewalk belongs to the building. You're going to need to move along." A pause. 3 seconds of silence. Somewhere behind them, a car horn blares twice. "Move where? I have my appointment in like 20 minutes. I'm not bothering anyone." "Ma'am, I'm telling you this is private property. If you don't have business here right now, you need to go." "But I do have business here. I just told you I have an appointment." The officer shifts his weight. The camera angle tilts slightly downward, catching the metal frame of her wheelchair, the worn rubber of the tires, a small scuff on the footrest. Then it lifts again to her face. "What kind of appointment?" "Medical. I see a specialist here, neurology." "Do you have proof of that?" She hesitates. "Proof? Like, I have the text reminder on my phone if you want to see it." She unlocks her phone, scrolls briefly, turns the screen toward him. The camera doesn't clearly capture the screen content, but her hand is steady. He glances at it. "All right, but you still can't wait out here. You need to go inside or leave the property." "I tried to wait inside, but it's really crowded today, and with my chair, it's hard to... There's not a lot of space. That's why I came out here." "That's not my problem. I'm telling you, you need to move." The first hint of strain enters her voice, though it remains controlled. "I don't understand. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm waiting for a medical appointment. Where am I supposed to go?" "That's up to you, ma'am, but you can't loiter here." The word loiter hangs in the air. It reframes everything. She's no longer a patient waiting for an appointment. She's someone without legitimate purpose, someone who doesn't belong. What would you do in this situation? A woman in scrubs exits the building behind them, sidestepping slightly to avoid the wheelchair. She glances at the officer, at the woman, then continues down the sidewalk without stopping. I'm not loitering, I'm disabled. I can't just stand around inside with everyone else. I need to sit, and my appointment is soon. Can you please just let me wait? I've explained the situation, ma'am. This is private property. If you refuse to comply, I can issue a citation. A citation for what? For waiting for a doctor's appointment? For trespassing. Another silence. This one lasts longer. 5 seconds. Somewhere a siren wails in the distance, faint and receding. The woman's jaw tightens slightly. She takes a slow breath through her nose. I need to see this doctor. I have a condition. I can't just leave and come back. It took me a long time to get here today. How did you get here? Paratransit, the accessible bus. They dropped me off at the corner about half an hour ago. So you've been sitting here for half an hour? Yes, because my appointment is at 3:15. I wanted to make sure I wasn't late. That's a long time to be sitting on someone else's property. The phrasing is deliberate. Someone else's property. Not, this is a public-facing medical building. Not, you're a patient. Not, how can we make this work? The message is clear. She is somewhere she doesn't have a right to be. I don't know what you want me to do. I'm in a wheelchair. I can't walk. I can't stand. I'm not blocking anyone. I'm just sitting here waiting to see my doctor, and you're telling me I have to leave. Her voice cracks slightly, then steadies. That doesn't make sense. I'm not here to debate with you, ma'am. I'm giving you a lawful order. You need to move off this property now. What does that mean? Are you going to arrest me? I'm going to do what I need to do to enforce the property owner's rights. A man in a suit walks past, phone pressed to his ear, mid-conversation. He doesn't look over. The city continues around them. The encounter is public, visible, and yet contained, a bubble of tension on an otherwise ordinary sidewalk. The woman's hands grip the armrests of her wheelchair. Her knuckles are tight, but she doesn't raise her voice. This is discrimination. You're targeting me because I'm in a wheelchair. If I was standing here waiting, you wouldn't be doing this. Ma'am, I'm not discriminating against anyone. I'm enforcing property rules. It has nothing to do with your situation. He doesn't say disability. He says situation. It has everything to do with it. I need accommodations. That's what the ADA is for. I can't wait inside because it's not accessible in the way I need it to be. So I'm waiting out here, hurting no one, and you're threatening me. I'm not threatening you. I'm telling you the law. Then tell me where I'm supposed to go. That's not my responsibility. The bluntness is startling. Not, let me help you figure this out. Not, let me speak to someone inside. Just, that's not my responsibility. The woman stares at him for a long moment. Her mouth opens slightly, as if she's about to say something, then closes. She looks down at her lap. Her shoulders rise and fall with a deep breath. Okay, can I please just wait until my appointment time? It's in 15 minutes. Then I'll go inside, see my doctor, and leave. Please. No, ma'am, you need to leave now. I can't believe this. Her voice is louder now, though not shouting, strained. I heard you. You want me to leave, but I don't have anywhere to go. I can't call another ride on short notice. I can't miss this appointment. So what do you want me to do? Lower your voice. I'm not yelling. You're becoming agitated. Because this is insane. I'm disabled. I'm waiting for a medical appointment, and you're harassing me. The word harassing shifts something. The officer's posture stiffens. The camera angle steadies. I'm not harassing you. I'm conducting my duties. If you continue to refuse to comply, I will have no choice but to place you under arrest for trespassing and disorderly conduct. Disorderly? I'm sitting in a wheelchair. Your tone and refusal to follow lawful orders constitute disorderly conduct. A woman with a stroller approaches from the right, slows slightly, then angles wide around them. She glances back once over her shoulder, keeps walking. No one intervenes. The woman in the wheelchair goes very still.
Her hands loosen on the armrests. When she speaks again, her voice is almost flat, drained of affect. "Are you really going to arrest me? That depends on you. I haven't done anything wrong. You've been asked to leave private property multiple times and refused. I'm waiting for a doctor's appointment. That's not a crime. Trespassing is." Another pause. The city hums. A bus rumbles past on the street. The woman closes her eyes briefly, then opens them. "Fine. I'll go inside now, even though my appointment isn't for another 12 minutes. I'll go inside and wait in the crowded lobby where there's no space for my chair, and I'll deal with it. Is that what you want? I want you off this sidewalk."
She reaches down to the wheels of her chair, begins to turn herself toward the building entrance. The motion is slow, deliberate. She's not rushing. The officer watches, doesn't offer to help, doesn't step aside, just watches. As she maneuvers around him, she mutters something under her breath. The Bodycam audio isn't perfectly clear, but it sounds like, "This is unbelievable." "What was that?" the officer asks sharply. She stops, looks up at him. "Nothing. I'm leaving. That's what you wanted." She continues toward the entrance. The automatic doors slide open. She wheels herself inside. The doors close behind her. The officer stands on the sidewalk for a moment, watching the entrance. Then he turns, begins walking back the way he came. The Bodycam captures the sidewalk ahead, the passing pedestrians, the ordinary rhythm of the city resuming. The footage ends at 2:59 p.m., 12 minutes of recorded interaction. What happened next took months to unfold. The woman filed a formal complaint with the police department. When that complaint was dismissed internally, she retained legal counsel and filed a civil rights lawsuit in federal court in early 2023. The Bodycam footage became the central piece of evidence. Experts in disability rights, police conduct, and civil rights law reviewed the interaction frame by frame, word by word. The city initially defended the officer's actions, arguing that he was enforcing legitimate property rules and that the woman had been uncooperative. But as the case progressed, the narrative shifted. Depositions revealed that the building's management had never called the police, never requested anyone be removed from the sidewalk, and had no policy prohibiting people from waiting outside. The officer had acted on his own assumption. Furthermore, the sidewalk, while adjacent to private property, was part of a public right-of-way. The legal grounds for the trespassing threat were questionable. More significant was the analysis of the officer's language. Disability rights advocates pointed to his refusal to acknowledge her medical need, his framing of her presence as loitering, his dismissal of her explanations, and his repeated emphasis on her not belonging. The phrase, "That's not my responsibility," became a focal point, a crystallization of the lack of accommodation, the absence of empathy, the exercise of authority without discretion. In August 2024, the case went to trial. It lasted 8 days. The jury deliberated for less than 6 hours. They found in favor of the plaintiff on all counts. The city was ordered to pay $850,000 in damages. The amount was significant, not just for the plaintiff, but as a statement. The jury had watched the Bodycam footage, they had heard the testimony, and they had concluded that what happened on that sidewalk was not routine enforcement. It was not reasonable police work. It was a failure of judgment, a failure of humanity, and a violation of rights. Public reaction was divided, but largely supportive of the outcome. Disability advocacy groups held the case up as a critical example of how people with disabilities are often subjected to suspicion, exclusion, and punitive treatment in public spaces. The fact that the encounter remained non-physical didn't make it less harmful. It illustrated how harm can occur through language, tone, and the wielding of authority without violence. Others focused on the broader systemic issues, how officers are trained or not trained to recognize disability accommodations, how discretion is applied unevenly, how certain bodies in certain spaces are treated as inherently suspicious, how someone waiting for a medical appointment could be reframed in real time as a problem to be solved rather than a person to be helped. The officer involved was not criminally charged. He faced no termination. He was reassigned to administrative duties pending an internal review, which eventually concluded with a reprimand and mandatory training. The city issued a public statement acknowledging the need for better disability awareness training across the police force. Advocacy groups called it insufficient. The woman, in a brief statement released through her attorney, said she hoped the case would lead to real change, not just in her city, but in how disabled people are treated in public spaces everywhere. She said she never wanted anyone else to feel the way she felt that afternoon: invisible, unwelcome, unheard. There are questions here that don't have easy answers. What is the line between enforcing rules and exercising judgment? When does discretion become discrimination? How much accommodation is required, and who decides when it's enough? What does it mean to belong in a public space, and who has the authority to determine that belonging? The body cam doesn't show what happened before the officer arrived. It doesn't show the crowded waiting room inside, the lack of seating space, the reasons the woman felt safer and more comfortable outside. It doesn't show her medical history, the difficulty of her commute, the effort it took to arrive on time. It doesn't show the interior reasoning of the officer, what he saw, what he assumed, what he felt justified in enforcing. But it does show 12 minutes. And in those 12 minutes, we see how quickly a mundane situation can escalate when authority meets vulnerability without empathy. We see how language can be a tool of exclusion. We see how someone can follow all the rules, explain themselves clearly, remain calm and cooperative, and still be treated as though they are the problem. We also see something quieter, harder to name: the isolation of being disbelieved, of explaining yourself over and over and realizing the person you're speaking to has already decided not to listen. The $850,000 verdict won't undo those 12 minutes. It won't erase the feeling of being told, in public, that you don't belong. But it does something else. It says, this mattered, this was wrong, and there are consequences. The case is now part of legal precedent, part of training materials, part of ongoing debates about policing, disability rights, and public space. The body cam footage remains public record. It continues to be watched, analyzed, debated, and it invites us to ask, what would we have done? If we were the officer, would we have paused, reconsidered, adjusted? If we were a bystander, would we have stopped, spoken up, intervened? If we were the person in the wheelchair, how long would we have kept explaining ourselves before breaking down or giving up? These aren't rhetorical questions. They're the kind we carry with us after the footage ends, after the verdict is read, after the case is filed away. They're the uncomfortable space between what we'd like to think we'd do and what actually happens when power, policy, and people collide on an ordinary sidewalk on an ordinary Wednesday afternoon. If this analysis made you think, if it challenged you, or if you believe these conversations matter, please subscribe to this channel for more deep dives into real encounters, real systems, and real consequences. Our next story drops soon and you won't want to miss it. Thank you for watching and for engaging thoughtfully with these difficult, necessary questions.